Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Arian, I am photo retoucher and you can learn, make and create together with me. So today I'm going to show you how you can edit a beauty portrait step by step using my actions. So without any further ado, let's get started. As you can see, we have a SOOC file, that means that straight out of camera, which is an original file that we are going to use for before and after. And you can find this RAW file in my Telegram channel, link is in the description. Also, you can find these retouching actions in my Gumroad account. So let's get started. I'm going to click here on the clean and click play. After we do that, as you can see, we have two different layers. One of them is clean and one of them is a black and white help layer. So for cleaning, I'm going to use three different tools. As you can see, spot healing brush tool with J, healing brush tool with K, and patch tool with L. I made these shortcuts so I can switch between these three different tools in an easy way. So I'm just going to solve this spot healing brush. I will zoom in, click on the clean layer and start cleaning. I will speed up this process because it will take more time, and see you guys in a few seconds. And now that we are done with cleaning, as you can see a before and after, it's time for some dodge and burn. So I'm just going to click here on the dodge and burn and click play. After you do that, I'm just clicking on the dodge layer and with a white brush and 10% opacity and start dodging some darker parts. You can see a before and after of the dodge. I think that we have to reduce the dodge opacity because it's kind of too much. I'm just gonna lower this by 75, I guess, and open the group because we have a desaturated layer that helps us in some oversaturated portraits. And I'm just going to turn off this, and as you can see, a before and after. And I think that 75 is way too much. I'm just going only by 17. Click on the burn and start using, as I said before, in the dodge. So we are going to do the same on the burn. So I'm just going to use the burn layer to reduce some harsh highlights. And as you can see, a before and after what we've done so far with the burn. As you can see, we have some highlights that are kind of turning into dark. As you can see, some spots here, and this is not good. So we are going to reduce the opacity of the burn by 50%. And I think that this one is looking good. Open the group and click on this saturated layer and turn off. And let's just check out before and after all this entire process that we have done so far. And I think that is looking really nice. So I'm just going to hold Shift keyboard and click here, right click and merge these layers into one. As you can see, a before and after. And after we are done with cleaning, dodge and burn, it's time for some frequency separation. So I'm just going to click here on the frequency separation plus, click play. So for the right radius, we are going to slide this to 0.1. And for choosing right radius, we have to zoom in where we have some high texture and slide this radius into the right until that texture disappears. So I think that we are going by 10% or maybe 9. I think that 9 is okay. So after we are done with that, just click here on this group, open, and as you can see, we have two different layers. One of them is low frequency, that means color, and high frequency, that means texture. In low frequency, we are going to use mixer brush. So settings for mixer brush, wet, we have to go by 10, load by 25, mix by 33, flow by 33. And with a small brush, I'm just going to start mixing the skin tones here on the forehead, and I will do this process in entire face. And as you can see, a before and after of what we have done so far with the frequency separation, especially in the low frequency. And we have mixed this skin tones with the highlights, as you can see, and this one is way too much for this portrait, so I'm going to reduce this by 75%. Let's just check a before and after. And yeah, this one I think is looking great. Now that we are done with the low frequency, it's time for the high frequencies. We are going to use clone stamp tool. For using clone stamp tool, you have to click here, and for cleaning in the texture, you have to hold Alt keyboard and click copy on the texture and paste it like this. So let me show you. As you can see, this is how we use clone stamp tool for cleaning in the texture. Be careful that you use copy paste like as near as possible, because if you copy texture here and you paste it here, as you can see, you are going to leave some bad marks, so be careful when you're using clone stamp tool. And this process is more like cleaning, but since we cleaned this portrait in the beginning and it was a really nice clean, and I think that is looking really nice. And now that we are done with low frequency separation, just right click and merge group into one. As you can see, a before and after what we've done so far. This is the before, this is after. And now that we are done with that, I'm just going to merge these two layers into one again. And it's time for some work in the eyes. So I'm just going to click here on the eye plus all in, click play, open the folder, and as you can see, we have some different layers, and we are going to use remove veins with a white brush and 100% opacity. I'm just going to paint it like this in the white of the eyes. Make sure that you are doing that in both of them. And as you can see, it removes the veins and it's kind of blurry, so this one is way too much. I'm just going to lower by 35. Click on the brightening. This one is for white of the eyes too, as you can see. Reduce this by 35. Click on the eyeball lightening. Let's just check a before and after, and this one is way too much. I'm just going to lower by 65. Click here on the iris contour and make some contours around the eyes. Let's just check a before and after, and I think that is looking good. Let's just check out before and after all this entire group, and I think that is looking really nice. I'm just going to merge these two layers into one again. Now that I'm done with the eyes, it's time to work on the lips. As you can see, we have to put some colors on the lips, so I'm going to use again frequency separation, click play, and this time I'm going to choose the radius by 3%, click OK. Now open the group and click here on the low frequency and use mixer brush again. I'm going to put some color around the lip, and I will just copy the color of the lips like this and start painting. And now that we are done in the low frequency, as you can see, a before and after, this one is way too much, obviously, so I'm just going to reduce this into 35%. Let's just check a before and after, and yeah, I think it's looking good. Now merge this layer or this group, merge again these two into one, check a before and after, and I think that is looking nice. Now click here on the whitened teeth, click play, and with a white brush and 100% opacity, I'm just going to paint inside the teeth. As you can see, we are going to reduce the yellow color. Let's just check out before and after, and I think that is looking good. I'm just going to reduce this by 70, something like that, and I think that is okay. Now merge these two layers into one. As you can see, before and after what we've done so far. Now it's time for some lip works. I'm just going to click here on the lips and cheeks, click play, and we have two different layers. As you can see, rosy cheeks and rosy lips. I'm just going to work on the rosy lips first and paint it all over the lips. As you can see, we have a nice color for the lips, and let's just check out before and after in the zoom out. And this one is way too much, obviously, so I'm just going to lower this into 20%. Check out before and after. I think it's okay. Click on the rosy cheeks, use a white brush and 10% opacity, and just going to paint it here on the cheeks. As you can see, a before and after, I think that this one is looking good. Just lower this by 25 and merge these layers again. I do this because I don't want this PSD file to be higher with gigabyte. Click here on the ellipse, dodge and burn, click play. As you can see, it says pick ellipse color, dodge. So I'm just going to pick the color here. This one is for the dodge. So if the lips need a little bit more dodge, this is how we do it for the lips. Let's just check a before and after. We made some mistakes here, so I'm just going to reduce this by 35. Now check a before and after, and yeah, I think it's looking good. Now click here on the pick color that says burn. So we're going to use a darker color of the lips and start painting where we want to burn, as you can see. Now let's just check a before and after in the zoom out, and this one is obviously way too much. I'm just going to put more burn here and reduce the opacity into 25. Check a before and after of this entire group, and yeah, I think it's looking good. Now click here and merge these two layers into one again, before and after. This is how we check what we've done so far. Now click here on the lips glow, click play, zoom in, use a white brush at 100% opacity and paint it here. This one gives a little glow to the lips. Now let's just check a before and after, and the group is already 30%. So if you switch to 100, as you can see, it's totally burned. So reduce this by 50, and I think that this one is okay. Now merge these layers again. Click on the soft lips, click play, and wait until it's done. And use a white brush and 100% opacity and just start painting in the lips. Let's just check a before and after. As you can see, let's just reduce this by 20% and merge this into one. Now check a before and after of this entire process. Check if the lips are looking good or not. And it's time for some eyeshadows and eyebrows and eyelashes work. So click here on the smoky eyes, click play, and just put this on top. Delete this black and white help layer and start with the smoky eyes with a white brush and 10% opacity. I'm just going to paint it around the eyes. Now let's just check a before and after of this one, and this one is way too much, obviously. So I'm just going to reduce this by 50%, and I think it's looking good. Click on the mascara and 100% brush, just paint it in the eyebrows. As you can see, it's way too much. So I'm just going to reduce this by 15 and click again to check a before and after. Make this into one layer because some of the actions will work fine only if we have the background layer. So click here on the eyeshadows that says pick a color. As you can see, I'm going to duplicate this 3 times or maybe just 2, and this works fine for the makeup. So just for example, if we have a pink color and 100% opacity, as you can see, this one is really nice for the makeup artist. As you can see, 100% is way too much, but you can lower this by 25 and we have some nice makeup. So I'm just going to stick with the kind of pink color that is here. It's a light pink, I guess. And I will pick another color and start painting around the eyes. As I said before, this works fine for the makeup. And if you have or haven't makeup in your portrait, you can put some with this one. Let's just check a before and after. And yeah, I think it's looking good. Now merge these 2 layers into one again. And after we are done with makeup and everything else, I think that it's time for some soft, smooth skin. So I'm just going to click play and wait until it's all done. Now use a white brush and 100% opacity and just paint it over the face. And let's just check a before and after. Zoom in. As you can see, we have destroyed the texture, obviously. So let's just reduce this by 30%, and maybe 30 is okay. And I think that I will go with 20 because 30 was way too much. Now that we have reduced the texture, we are going to add some digital skin texture and start painting all over the face again. Now zoom in to check the texture. As you can see, a before and after. This one is way too much. I'm just going by 25%. Check a before and after of this entire process. I think it's looking good. Now merge this into one again. And it's time for some dodge and burn because it totally needs some. And for the dodge with white brush and 10%, I'm just going to paint it like this with a big brush. The first dodge and burn we did was micro, and this one is macro. As you can see, a before and after what we've done so far. Let me just show you. I think that is looking good, but 100% is way too much. And turn off this desaturated layer, click on the burn, and start putting some contour around the face. And put some burn where it needs. Let's just check a before and after. And 100% is way too much again. Check a before and after again. I think it's looking good. Just put some dodge here on the hair and in the crown. Let's just check a before and after. Click on the burn again. Reduce this. And I think that is looking good. Now merge this into one. Click here on the sharpen, basic contrast and face contour, and click play for 3 of them. Just click enter. As you can see, we have a black mask of sharpen, so invert this into white, zoom in, check a before and after. And I think that 100% is way too much, so just lower this by 70. Click on the contrast and reduce this by 25. Click on the contour. And I think that this one is looking good. Now double click here, and this one is for the highlights, midtones and shadows. So I'm just going to slide this into the right, check a before and after, and reduce this by 70 or maybe 50. Check a before and after, and merge this into one. Now that we are done with retouching, it's time for some color grade. So just click on the color grade white skin and choose the right color grade for this portrait. And I will stick with the CG4, as you can see, that says here CG6, and turn off all these layers, and let's just check them one by one. And close this group and put some more adjustments here. So click on the and go to the highlights and put highlights something like into yellow, into red, something like this. As you can see, a before and after. Reduce this by 20. Click here again and click on the color balance. Put this into 20% and click again in the color balance. Choose shadows. For the shadows, I'm going something like this and reduce this by 20%. Again, click here on the black and white help layer, switch from normal mode to luminosity. And let's just check a before and after of this one. Double click here. And as you can see, we have some magenta and some reds to work with. As you can see before and after, reduce this by 20% and click here on the selective color, choose the black. Rename the group color grade. Let's just check a before and after. And I think that is looking really nice. Now I'm just going to reduce this by 60%. So this is before and this is after. This is before, this is after retouch, and this is after retouch and color grade. As you can see, let's just zoom in. Let's just check a before and after. So this is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Please don't forget to check all the links in the description and let me know about my English if I am understandable or not. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.